You must know what you are going after. You can't live your life meandering around hoping you hit something, and whatever you hit, you say, that's what I was aiming at. You have to have a specific target in mind. Most people don't succeed at getting what they're going after because they don't take the time to research what they're going after. They ask for things and then see if they want them. But you have to be careful about that, because if you ask for something, you might get it. You need to be sure that that's what you want to see happen in your life. Know what you're going after. So before you go after it, ask God, is it yours? Because if it's not yours, then the only reason you're going after it is because it looked good on somebody else. You begin to covet what belongs to somebody else. Most people want everything they see somebody else with. They buy clothes that don't look good on them. They wear hairstyles that don't look good on them. They buy houses they can't afford because they're trying to keep up with somebody else. But if you really want to be a winner, if you really want to come off as successful, if you really want to be bright, only go after things that are meant for you to have. It will make you look successful. And what makes you look bright is when you pick your battles. There are some things that you don't fight because that's not your fight. You don't get into that thing. You don't pick those battles. You don't covet what you see somebody else fight down because they're anointed to fight that. They can do that. You might not be gifted to fight that area, and you don't want to covet somebody else's battle or covet somebody else's success. Covet, and the other word I want you to think about is the word envy, because envy is the attitude that you have about other people's success. And the quickest way to stop being envious of other people's success is to know that everything in your life is preparing you for that thing, that there are in your life defining moments. This is a critical issue. There are in your life defining moments that if you handle properly, they are pivotal points that change your life for a lifetime. It is at these moments that if you know what you're going after, everything that you went through before is justified in preparing you for these defining moments. Know what you're going after. Be clear about your direction. Don't wake up in the morning and see if something's going to happen. Wake up in the morning to make something happen. Get up out of the bed with an agenda. Oh, I lost half of you on that. Because you're just so happy that you got up. You don't care what does happen. You say, well, at least I'm up. But people who get up like that, nothing does happen. And the days turn to weeks. And the weeks turn to months. And the months turn to years. Years of mediocrity is what causes people to be bitter. If you want to get around bitter and complaining people, get around people who are not seeing much activity. They're bitter, they're complaining, they're cynical, and they're jealous because nothing is happening. If you want to get around less gossip and less jealousy, get around successful, busy people. Because busy people don't have time to care what's going on in your life. I have no need to investigate what's going on in your life. I have so much going on in my own life that I'm not interested in what I heard that they said that you thought, that if I thought what you said that I didn't mean if you heard it. The only people who have time for that is people who are not doing anything. And they watch your life like it's a soap opera because they're living their life vicariously through you. What's going on in your life intrigues them because nothing is going on in their life. And if you want to stop that from happening to you, wake up in the bed and know what you're going after. Get up out of the bed with an agenda. When you have an agenda, you don't spend time worrying about how you feel because it doesn't make any difference how you feel. You woke up with something to do. Wash your face. Wash your face is a significant issue because it means literally don't let your past affect your present. Wash your face means wash everything off you that you collected along your journey and prepare yourself for where you're going. Wash your past off of you so that it doesn't pollute your present. You'd be surprised at the people who have ruined where they are with where they came from. You can sit across the table to interview them, and when you start interviewing them, they start talking about what they went through and what they went through on the last job. They just wasn't ready for me, and they just didn't understand my gifting and the person of my color. And after a while, you can see bitterness. And the whole problem is, regardless of whether they went through a bad experience or not, the whole problem is they've never washed their face. Wash it off you. You can't go forward until you wash the past off you. I don't care how long it takes. If it takes laying on the altar, if it takes 6 months, if it takes 6 years, you cannot go forward until you wash your face. You're not ready for Boaz until you wash your face. You got too much stuff on you from yesterday. You must wash your face. Clinging issues from the past, residue that we can readily detect. I shouldn't be able to look at you and see your past on your face. Means you didn't wash your face. It is possible to be delivered from something and still not wash the effects of it out of your lifestyle. You should be surprised at the people who can't figure out why their life is being polluted. They've actually been delivered. They've actually gone on in their life, but they fail to wash from their face where they came from, and they look like where they were, and so they're still penalized as if they were where they were. Even though they've come up higher, they didn't wash their face. You got to wash your past off of you, or you will forfeit your opportunity to go forward. And you'll be angry at people and upset at people, but people wouldn't be talking about you if you would just wash your face. But you haven't washed your face. You had the academics, you had the intellect, you had the ability, you had the school loan, you had the tenacity, you did everything. You got the degree. You're in the upper echelon. You're moving amongst certain people of influence and affluence, but you're not able to handle it because you've never washed your face. You might as well be in the back of a trailer over in the project somewhere, spitting watermelon seeds over your grandmama's back porch, because for all of your training and education, you never did wash your face and prepare yourself for where you are now. And you're trying to change the whole system to fit you when you have to fit the situation. Everything's not going to change for you. You've got to anoint your face, which basically means put on a fresh attitude. Makeup does stuff. It brightened your countenance. It gave you a fresh, clean, glowing look. And that's what the anointing does. It gives you a glowing look. It gives you an effervescence. It gives you a sense of excitement. It gives you a positive attitude where you walked into a room glowing. Understand, this is something you have to put on. This is not you. You put it on. Our generation has the philosophy, keeping it real. And we think keeping it real means expressing everything you think. But keeping it real will keep you broke. It will keep you unemployed. It will keep you divorced, because people really cannot handle that. They don't want that. What they want from you is to come to work with your face glowing and walk up and say, "Good morning, may I help you today?" Because if you don't start changing your attitude, you will miss your altitude. Change your garments. Changing your garments means to prepare for something that hasn't even happened yet. And if you do this, you will look ridiculous where you are, because you are prepared for where you're going. Though you're not where you're going yet, you're already prepared for something that hadn't happened yet. Well, why would you do that? Because when it does happen, you won't have a chance to get ready. You're going to have to be ready when it does happen. Am I talking to anybody? And the other thing you have to understand is anytime you get ready for something that hadn't happened yet, you feel out of place with what is happening. You need to prepare in the direction that you're going in. I ought to be able to look at your preparation and see your destination. Your destination needs to be on you right now. Understand, my brothers and sisters, that when you do put it on, there's going to be a certain amount of peer pressure where people start treating you differently where you are because you're dressed for where you're going. But let them stare. It's worth them staring to be prepared. It hadn't happened yet, but I'm dressed for it. I'm ready for it. I'm learning about it. I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to walk into it. I'm ready to receive it. I'm practicing on being blessed. I'm getting ready for it right now. When it does happen, I'll already have my stuff. When it does happen, I'll already be in place. You ought to be ready right now for things that your eyes haven't seen and your ears haven't heard. You ought to be so ready that people who knew you before ought to be confused by what you're doing right now. You have to own your own happiness. Take it away from other people demanding that they make you happy. Your kids are not going to make you happy. Your spouse is not going to make you happy. A big house is not going to make you happy. Own your own happiness and be responsible for doing those things that bring joy into your own heart, independently of life and people and money and all of that stuff.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily give you a happiness. You have to take responsibility of that peace and that joy that lives inside of your heart and not inside of your stuff. Enjoy the journey, not the destination.